You know the vibes. We are back with another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast brought to you by NBA 2K22. If you don't already have your copy, what are you doing? I'm asking you again. Hit the link in the description. Go get your copy and get cooking on the court because BJ Armstrong is with me, three-time NBA champion. I'm your boy Moency, and we are very close to NBA action returning to our screens. I know it was only 3 days ago that All-Star Weekend got wrapped up, but it's felt like an eternity. I don't know what to do in my evenings when the NBA isn't on. They tried to get me to watch Netflix shows. I turned on some Netflix shows and I was like, this ain't it. They tried to get me to watch this show about someone who's on Tinder robbing women for their money, Tinder swindler. I was like, what is this, man? Bring the NBA back. I ended up watching old NBA highlights for the past 3 nights. BJ, what have you been doing for the past 3 days?
I'm breaking down tape, Mo. I'm breaking down tape. I'm breaking down tape. And you know what, Mo? I'm ready to start thinking about what teams got to do in this second half of the season. Because now, Mo, in the words of my great friend and my good friend, I play with Cliff Livingston. We referred to him as good news. He would always ask us before every game. He said, "What time is it?" Mo, Friday.
It's game time. It's game time.
There you go. And there you go, Mo. So
yes,
we got to give the people what they want. We got 2 more days. And then, Mo, let's talk about the NBA.
We have got to give the people what they want. And Kyrie Irving has just received what he wants. Shams Charania of The Athletic has reported New York City has a plan to phase out the vaccine mandates in the coming weeks. Mayor Eric Adams has said, at which point Brooklyn Nets star Kyrie Irving will be cleared for home games. And the good news doesn't stop there for Brooklyn fans. Brooklyn fans, are you ready for the best news of the week? I've been receiving videos of Ben Simmons in the gym with Kyle Korver, working on free throws, working on little jump shots, not shooting threes from way back, but just working on his form, that form shooting. I don't know many people better than Kyle Korver to learn that shooting from. So BJ, that brings me to the question. Seeing as the Nets have been on an awful slide of form with Kevin Durant injured, they're going to get Kyrie back full time in just a few weeks. Let's assume ready for the playoffs, okay? Let's assume Kevin Durant returns ready for the playoffs. And let's assume Ben Simmons is fully up to speed and in action, ready for the playoffs. How do you think this Brooklyn team is looking? How far do you think they can go? And if you had to pick any other team in the Eastern Conference, who would give them the toughest matchup?
Well, you know, Mo, again, we're talking about a lot of hypotheticals.
Yes, we are, because there's been no games. So that's what we have to go on for today's episode.
Exactly.
This is the hypothetical.
So there's been no games. And that's the key. There's been no games. And I don't know specifically how many days. When is the last time Ben Simmons has played? Can we get that?
That would have been a game against the Hawks.
I know, but how many days?
That would have been May. Let me.
So he hasn't played a game in what, 200 something days now? It's got to be 200 something. I don't know what it is. Okay. You know, Mo, I'm just not buying, you know, that these guys are just going to show up when everyone's healthy and they're just going to play and then they're just going to play to this elite level. I'm not buying that.
247 days.
Okay. He hasn't played a game in 247 days. He's just going to work in the gym a little bit with Kyle Korver, right? That's who you said.
Yes.
And then all is good in the world. Well, Mo, if it was that easy, I must have done something wrong.
Are you trying to get a 10-day? You could go work out with Kyle Korver.
I know. I need a 10-day. If it's just that easy. Okay. Now, once we get off the paper, we got to get to the court and somebody's got to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe any athlete, I don't care how superior of an athlete you may be, you need more than 10 or 12 days to get yourself back. You got to let your body get adjusted to the bumps and the grinds.
Could you break down for the fans the difference between, because these guys have been working out. Ben Simmons has been working out this whole time. Yeah. Kyrie was working out the whole time he was out. But what's the difference between working out and being in game shape? Can you break that down for the people?
Okay. You know, it was explained to me this way. A boxing match is one thing. A street fight is another.
Yes.
Don't mix up the two.
Mm-hmm.
Working out is one thing. Playing in a game is another. Don't mix up the two. I don't care. Okay, Mo, I'm gonna just tell the absolute truth here, and I don't want to destroy
always
fan. Yeah, always. But sometimes, some things are best not said. Mo, I don't care how much you work out. You got to play in the game. Working out means absolutely nothing to me. Okay? We are mixing the workouts now as if they are replacing the game.
So that's why this morning when you rang me and I said I was working out, you laughed.
I have never met a player. So I'm going to, okay, Mo, I'm going to say something. I've never met a player who told me he had a bad workout. Mo, how was your workout today?
My workout was a good workout. But
exactly. The workouts are always good. Every player. Hey, man, how was your workout? Oh, man, we got it in today. I shot the lights out today.
But I feel
how was your workout
now.
Tomorrow? man, my workout, man, I'm getting it in. I'm grinding every day. How was your workout the next day? Oh, man, 3 days in a row. 20. You going to tell me you had 200 consecutive days and everybody going to be like, Mo, that's incredible discipline. Great job.
But what if he spent 247 days and has learned how to shoot? What if he's just conquered his fears in the 200? What if he comes back and his first bucket is just cash?
Let me tell you something. Mo. Let me tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me tell you something that every player knows. You are a professional player, Mo.
Yes.
If I can't go to an empty gym and make a shot, what makes me think I'm going to make a shot when the defense is on me and 20,000 fans screaming?
Yep.
I'm fatigued. I'm playing. Tell me, Mo, why are you impressed with yourself because you went to an empty gym with you and your trainer and made 200 threes in a row?
I feel really targeted because you're just describing my workout from this morning.
No,
but I hear what you're saying because it is very different to a game situation. There's no one around, no defense, no pressure, no crowd.
You're playing. You're just doing your thing in the gym. But let me describe to you what's going to happen on Friday night. Ja Morant is going to be coming at you full speed.
Oh, I'm fouling out. I'm catching 2 texts. I'm fouling out.
Did you prepare for that?
Hell no. You can't prepare for
Jackson Jr. is going to be trying to block your shot. You know all those floaters and runners you're doing when your trainer has a broomstick? You know that? You know that?
Yep, I know it.
Okay. And then all of a sudden, Steven Adams is going to fall on you. Did your trainer prepare you for that?
Oh, hell no.
Did your trainer prepare you for all the fans and all of that? So, Mo, I don't want to hear it. I'm a professional.
Mm-hmm. So you don't
playing basketball.
So let's go back to the Nets, though. You're not buying the Nets being the favorites to win the East or get to these conference finals. You're not buying it.
The reason I'm not buying it is because they haven't been on the court. Think about this, Mo. If this doesn't get passed, they still can't play consecutive games together at home or on the road. Every championship team knows this, Mo. Let me tell you something. Okay, let's tell our listeners this. You play different at home than you do on the road.
Mm-hmm.
So if Kyrie is only playing on the road, how is this team going to get any type of cohesiveness at home when Kyrie won't be there? And everybody knows the bench plays different at home. The coach is different at home. He coaches different on the road, so forth and so on. You have to slow the game down on the road. If you're going to win, you got to take the crowd out of the game. This is what made the bubble championship interesting because playoff basketball didn't require you to play different. You just showed up to the gym and you played. And there were no fans. There was no booing. There was nothing. Okay, so Mo, there's no travel. This is what I'm saying. Now, y'all can tell me you work it out. That's funny to me. I think it's hilarious. that suddenly now the workout actually means something in the game. What do I care that you worked out? The only thing that matters, Mo, is what happens at 7:30 when that popcorn is popping.
I hear you.
And if you ain't in a place where the popcorn ain't popping, you just working out. You know what we call those people, Mo?
Go on.
They're AM All-Stars. Welcome to the All-Star team in the morning. The games aren't played to the evening. Okay? Okay, Mo?
Hey.
I don't care about a workout. Like, these guys work out, and it's an inside joke, so now it's not inside because now they're going to know it when they listen to this. I always ask, how was your workout? Oh, man, it was great. I got it up today, BJ. Oh, man, we got it in. And his trainer's always going to, man, the guy made 74 out of 75 threes from one spot. Man, he shot the crap out of the ball today.
Mm-hmm.
I've never met a player who had a bad workout. But then when I go watch him play, oh, man, you know what they tell me? Oh, man, coach didn't let me rock tonight. Oh, man. Hey, Mo. Hey, Mo. I didn't get enough minutes tonight.
I hear it.
See what I'm saying? Now, Mo, you working out for the 2024. What's the game called? I don't know what's it called. What is it called?
All-Star Weekend Celebrity.
All-Star Weekend. Okay, you know what, Mo?
Go on.
All of this don't mean anything to me. I'm going to find out on that night what you did. I got paid to perform. Mo, the players get paid to perform. They don't get paid to work out. They get paid to perform.
Mm-hmm.
You trying to pay me. You trying to get me to pay you to work out. No. Mo, I tell the players this all the time. I don't care what you do. But at 7:30, I'm going to find out what you was doing, though.
Okay. So that brings us nicely. Even though I feel like I've been wasting my time working out in the mornings now.
No, you're not wasting your time.
I feel like I've been putting up all these shots and BJ just has no ratings for it whatsoever. I'm going to tell my trainer to get rid of the broom. But, talking about if you're not buying into the Brooklyn Nets, the Philadelphia 76ers obviously are the kind of cohort in that trade story, James Harden, Ben Simmons swapped. So the question is now, not whether you believe in the Sixers, because I think they've got the MVP or one of the MVP candidates in Joel Embiid, and they've added James Harden when essentially losing only Seth Curry and Andre Drummond, if you want to make a case. But they added Willie Cauley-Stein, who I think plays a style of basketball, the vertical basketball you speak about, better with James Harden. And, they've got Paul Millsap coming off the bench now. But who has more pressure on them to perform? James Harden in Philly or Ben Simmons in Brooklyn?
Well, Mo, that's a great question. That question is a very deep question. And Mo, I'm tumbling down this rabbit hole as
you're going to need a name, though.
Okay. Mo, before the trade with Brooklyn, before Brooklyn made this trade, they were the favorites to win the NBA championship.
Yes.
Okay. So nothing has changed. After the trade, they make this trade. They're still expected.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
Okay. But Mo, this is what I'm saying. So nothing has changed in Brooklyn. James Harden is going to Philly, and suddenly people are saying, they got an MVP candidate this year in Joel Embiid. And now you're adding a former MVP and you're going, they can compete for the championship. They're only, 2 games out, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now the ante has been up. Now everyone has pushed their chips to the middle of the table, right? Right? Mm-hmm. Everyone has their chips in the middle of the table right now.
Yep.
So they say, well, who has more pressure? Is it Brooklyn, Ben Simmons, James Harden, Philadelphia? And this who has the most pressure on them right now. Okay, you ready for this, Mo?
Go on.
Drum roll, please. Daryl Morey from the Philadelphia 76ers has the most pressure. Most pressure on him. He has the most pressure on him. But that's the answer.
Yes.
The answer is who has the most pressure? Okay. Because I am sure of this, James Harden is going to average 20 plus. I am sure of this, Ben Simmons is going to do what Ben Simmons does. If he gets 10, 10, and 10, you're going to be like, oh man,
Ben 10.
And he's doing this. And then you're going to say, oh man, when Ben gets in shape, those are going to be 15. Oh, if he makes it 3, you're going to be like, oh my God, he's shooting better. Ben Simmons is a talent. Talents are going to do what talents do. James Harden is going to have a 40-point game in here, and everybody's going to play. See? Now, but you want to know who has the most pressure on them, because I'm not impressed with the regular season performance. I'm impressed with who's going to win the final game of the season. You want to impress me? Get to the final game of the season. Because when the smoke clears, I'm going to find out who's the best. Daryl Morey did not, and the reason I'm saying Daryl Morey is because Daryl Morey did not put together this team in Philadelphia. Last I checked, Daryl Morey's basketball philosophy is in complete contradiction with Doc Rivers' basketball philosophy.
Yep. This is what's interesting.
Last time I checked, Daryl Morey wasn't trying to build his team around a center, because he's had centers there. And Dwight Howard and those guys. Clint Capella and all. He got rid of Clint Capella, who is a serviceable center.
Yep.
It said, I'm just going all small.
Yep.
Because it doesn't fit my philosophy. Daryl Morey has hired people that played in a philosophy, Mike D'Antoni, that is in complete contradiction with Doc Rivers, who was just named one of the top 15 greatest coaches of all time. And by the way, he's won a championship. And by the way, I know he's a defensive guy because he did it for your favorite team with the defensive player of the year, I might add.
KG.
Okay. Now, when they built this team, Daryl Morey was not on board. Suddenly, Daryl Morey is now on board, and Daryl Morey has now his imprints.
So why is the pressure on him? If he hasn't built this team, then there's no pressure on him, because if it doesn't work, he can turn around and say, well, I didn't build this team.
Hear me out. My team. His fingerprints were not on this team. You're absolutely right. When this trade was made, though, now his imprints are on this team.
Okay, but this trade being made is taking all the pressure off him, because this is the best trade you could have got for Ben. You traded a player who was not playing any games.
He could have traded
for
Ben
a former
Simmons
MVP
for anybody. He could have traded Ben Simmons for anybody.
Name a better player he could have got than James Harden.
It's a better player when you get the results you're looking for. It's a better player when you get the results you're looking for.
I don't think the pressure's on him, because what could he have got? What else could he have got? I think the pressure is
on who?
In Brooklyn.
The pressure's on who?
I think the pressure is, if you're going to talk about a front office, I think it's in Brooklyn, because this team was all amped up to win a championship last year. And then this year, they've not had the consistency. Obviously, injuries play a part, but now you've traded all of those assets, and Jarrett Allen, who's now an NBA All-Star, Karis LeVert, who's now on the Cavs. Okay. You traded all of those for 9 months of James Harden? And then that didn't work out. So now you've traded for Ben Simmons. And if that doesn't work out, what are you going to be left with? Kevin Durant, as great as he is, coming off another injury, another year older. Kyrie Irving, okay, he could play now because the vaccine laws have changed, but there might be something else that comes up. He might not be happy yet. I don't know if he signed his contract extension. I think the pressure is on in Brooklyn, because the ownership is spending so much money to win a championship with this team that they have to win it. With the Philadelphia 76ers, as you said, they've overperformed this year. They traded Ben Simmons who wasn't playing, and they've got a former MVP in return. I think the pressure is on in Brooklyn.
I have to respectfully disagree. They have overperformed. I have to respectfully disagree, because they have a player now who's playing at a higher level minus another all-star player.
Okay, but you said
Tyrese,
like
when
3
you
episodes
get-
ago, you said that Doc Rivers should be coach of the year because the Sixers have overperformed.
the Sixers has overperformed from one perspective. No one was expecting them, minus Ben Simmons,
Mm-hmm.
to be in this position. However, me and no one else was saying Maxey was going to perform like this, which when you are putting together a team, you have to give room for these players to improve, because that's one of the 4 ways in which your team gets better.
Yep.
You improve your team through free agency. You improve your team through the draft. You improve your team through trades, and you have to improve your team from within. No one, including myself, thought that Maxey was going to make or take this big of a leap.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see it. Ben Simmons was the starting point guard. I saw a player that I thought was a combo guard. I didn't see Maxey coming in and doing what he's doing this year. Joel Embiid's history has shown me that he's had physical problems staying healthy. He's missed like two or 3 years in a row.
Yep.
Okay, so when you see players improve and grow and do those things, that's one of the areas now, because now, Mo, next year, I'm going to come to expect Maxey to at least be as good as he is this year, because he's shown me he has improved from the year ago. Okay, that's what I'm saying. I'm not changing my story. When you lose Ben Simmons, an all-star caliber player, I can only go off of what I've seen. Did you know that Maxey was this good? I didn't know.
I don't think anyone expects him to be this good.
Okay, so now, Mo, I can say, hey, here's what's crazy. We're losing Ben Simmons, an all-star caliber player, and no one's talking about the point guard position anymore in Philadelphia. That, to me, is like, here's a second-year player that suddenly immediately replaced an all-star caliber player, and we're not even talking about that. That's like losing an all-star and you're going, okay, we're cool on that. Let's get this other player and we can still win the championship. That, to me, is like, dang, how quick was that? That took about 200 some days.
Okay, but you got to give me a one-name answer, though. Ben Simmons, James Harden. You can't give me Daryl Morey. I'm giving you the 2 options.
I'm giving you Daryl Morey because Daryl Morey is on the clock.
Okay.
He's got to be on the clock. He's got to be. No one, because if the team doesn't perform well, the first thing you're gonna say, oh, it's coaching. If James Harden doesn't play well, guess what you're gonna say? Oh, James Harden is done. And then it stops and starts with the executives and the people up top. You say that's the only place he could have gone. Financially, I agree with you. I think that was the only place. And I told you that before it happened. I didn't know anything. I didn't talk to anyone. So I'm not saying I knew it. I just looked at the numbers. But what I'm telling you, if you have a philosophy, just like the Kawhi Leonard, when I saw that Kawhi Leonard trade, Masai is a friend of mine. I wanted to ask Masai, okay, man, what you doing? What's going on up here? But out of respect, I just watched. And then suddenly they won the championship. And I said, oh, that's what they were doing. But who was saying when the trade initially happened that that was the favorite to win the championship? I didn't hear anybody saying that.
No one.
Okay. But he knew what his group needed. He knew what his team needed. And he put his basketball acumen or whatever you want to call it on the line, and it paid dividends. Now, that's how it works.
Yep. I hear it. I hear what you're saying. But the original question remains. If you ain't going to answer it, I think the pressure is on. You can
answer it.
I think the pressure is on Ben Simmons.
If you
between those two,
Simmons,
because reason being, there's no pressure on James Harden. He's already.
Oh, they booed Santa Claus up there. There's pressure. Listen. The Philly faithful will be out in full force.
What I mean to say is, I think now I'm not James Harden, so I can't say this, right? But in terms of, regardless of what the fans and what the media says, James Harden is at a point in his career where he's won MVP. He's been a scoring leader. Whereas Ben Simmons hasn't played for so long and hasn't really achieved anything outside of that. He's been an all-star a couple of times, all defensive player. Okay, cool. Do you see where I'm coming from on that?
I understand.
Ben Simmons has more to prove is maybe the better way to phrase it. Ben Simmons.
And here is another thing that bothers me about this trade that no one's saying. I got one guy who's going to a team as a star player, right? All-star player, like you just said.
Yeah.
Been named to the all-star. And he can go to the team and be a role player. When that other guy was there, we said that he is falling off by trying to fit in as a role player. Mo, you got to talk to me, Mo, and we got to have a consistent with the argument. Now I'm saying James Harden is coming, and suddenly now I'm expecting James Harden to return back to like, ta-da. Now,
but James Harden is a different caliber of player to Ben Simmons. He's a whole caliber above Ben Simmons.
No, he's not. He's not, because neither one of them have won the final game of the season.
Okay.
Mo, you're counting.
Okay.
Mo, what you're doing is you're counting the stats.
No, I'm
you're
not.
Counting
no,
the stats.
no,
okay,
no, no.
Mo.
I'm looking at James Harden, who on that Rockets team took the Golden State Warriors to within one game of eliminating Kevin Durant's Golden State Warriors.
Close is only good in horseshoes, Mo.
Okay,
this is not horseshoes.
You can say what you want. You can say what you want, but Chris Paul injured out. Okay, that affects the series entirely. Whereas Ben Simmons, you cannot point to any moment in his career where he's even had the potential. You could say, okay, that buzzer beater, Kawhi Leonard hit and knocked down is the. But come on, man. That James Harden was the superstar of that team. Whereas that Philly team, Embiid, Jimmy Butler.
Mo, this is why everyone is excited. This is why even I'm intrigued. I've said this, Mo, and I'll say it again. I've said this. I don't know if I said it here. I was really nervous that Brooklyn was going to win a championship with James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant. Not because I didn't want them to win it, because if they did win it, this was going to be the first time, Mo, since 1946, where the principles of the game would win a championship, and you're not even committed to playing defense.
I
was really, that was the first time I said, they may change the philosophy of the game if this team wins, because they're not committed to playing defense at all. They're just saying, screw defense. I'm just going to outscore you. And Mo, since 1946, no one has ever done that.
Well,
now, hold up, Mo. Hold on.
I go.
And the reason I am intrigued with Brooklyn is because you're adding a all defensive caliber player.
Yes.
Which gets them closer to the more traditional way of thinking of winning a championship, because Mo, I've never seen a team win when they just say, we're just going to outscore you. And Mo, if they would have won, that would have changed the way the game looked, because guess what, Mo? They would have really and more or less reinvented the wheel, because no one has ever done that before.
But they didn't. The basketball gods were not favorable to them. The chemistry
absolutely
did not work out. I can't
that's
say
why
I'm sad about it. But what we can change in reinventing the wheel and developing a whole new philosophy is your consumption of sports media. So make sure you subscribe to the Hoop Genius podcast. You like how I did that one?
Someone's going to answer the question. Mo, Daryl Morey is on the clock. Because why? Because from this point moving forward, Daryl Morey has to do what Mo knows has to be done. He's got to construct a team starting now where he's got to build around these two guys. And we know one of those guys is not committed yet to the defensive end of the game. And Mo, he's not committed yet. And we know that the head coach is committed. Joel Embiid is a defensive. He could be defensive player of the year if he so wanted. He's that level of, okay. Tybo is he's an all defensive player, NBA defensive player.
Yeah.
Okay. Mo, Danny Green,
he can hold his own.
He can hold it. Mo, I want to see what every coach has to ask his best players. Are you a coachable kid? Because James Harden is going to have to be a different James Harden. Because if you get the James Harden that's in Houston, the one that got to the conference finals, that one's going to lose again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only waiting. I'm only going to say this one time. I can't wait to see the first loose ball on the floor. I want to see if James Harden is going to dive on the floor like I saw Joel Embiid dive on the floor versus the Dallas Mavericks. You are a guy who looks up the highlights. If I see James Harden do that, then Mo, I know they got something in Philly. But if you telling me James Harden is going to average 35 points a night and he's going to dribble around and do that, and JoJo's just going to come out there and start setting screens. JoJo is not coming out to him to set screens. This is JoJo's team now. Okay? This is JoJo's team. JoJo's the first, second, third option. And James Harden, you're going to have to defend. You're not going to just hide on defense on the Doc Rivers team.
Yep. Well, I can't wait to watch the game, the full game, not the highlights, as you insinuated there. But
well, Mo, I know you know, Mo, you know everything that's going on in the NBA. You know all the stats, you know all the players, you know Mo. Ladies and gentlemen, Mo, I don't think the guy sleeps. The guy is everywhere. He's on Twitter, he's on TikTok, he's on YouTube. I get all my news from Mo. I don't have to go to Twitter. I just get it from Mo.
You know what I mean? I have a thing where I try and encourage people to watch as much games as they can rather than just the highlights, because the highlights, Mo, you don't get the full picture.
Well, I am lucky that I don't have to go to Twitter or anything. I just look at my phone, and because I know Mo is sending me every single thing that happens in the NBA. Everybody else goes to Twitter and all these things. I just go to Mo. And then Mo, what happened today?
Man, that's what we do. And then we come here and share it with the world. So if you're listening and you've enjoyed the show, make sure you hit subscribe, leave us a review. BJ, tomorrow's Friday. You know what I think we should do? Some Fan Love Friday. Let's answer some questions from the people. I'm going to put a tweet up. We're going to get some questions in.
Man. You know what?
We're going to get it popping. That's what we're going to do.
You know what? It's called Hoopology, baby.
Let's do it.
And all the hoopologists out there, you know what? I love it. I'm down. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Let's get class in session. We're going to find out
who's got more pressure tomorrow, Mo or BJ.
Well, I'm going to go ice my knees after this workout that BJ didn't approve of. So until tomorrow, my peoples, get buckets.